What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to make kind of a discussion video, or more of a response, I guess, to a video that Elementz posted yesterday or earlier today, something like that. Anyway, basically the gist of it is kind of talking about region locking. Whether or not teams should be able to move over from different regions, such as LMQ moving over to North American LCS and competing, and just talking about whether or not that's okay or what you can do about it, whatever. So I'll just start off by addressing the two main points of the video, I guess, and I'll just play it through for you guys so you guys know kind of what he's saying, so you can get his point of view also, and I'll have the video link in the description also if you want to watch the full thing.
And let's throw up a hypothetical situation here, just for the sake of discussion. So let's say LMQ makes it to Worlds. Let's say LMQ actually wins Worlds this split. Let's say that they win. Now, how many people would believe that NA would get the title for World's Best Region 2014? Who would think that? Because I personally wouldn't feel that North America would be accurately represented as the world's best region if LMQ wins. And I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm not saying they're anything, but the fact is they're a full 100% Chinese team that has moved over, a 5-man roster, come to North America, qualified through the North American LCS to get to their world spot. And if they win, I just don't feel that it would be a North American win. I don't feel.
Okay, so the main point of what he's saying is just, if LMQ were to win Worlds, just purely hypothetical, would it be considered a North American win? He argues that it wouldn't be, and I would say that I may even agree with him that most people wouldn't see it that way. But the fact of the matter is that it would be, and the reason why is because of one very simple phrase that holds true, which is talent breeds talent. You cannot continue to be the best for 9 to 10 months if you are not playing against other good teams. It's impossible. It just doesn't work like that. Like, put it this way: if, say, SK Telecom, T1K, the team that won Worlds, say they were playing in North America instead of Korea, do you really think they would have won Worlds? I don't know anyone that would say yes to that, because it just wouldn't happen. LMQ moved here in December of last year, and Worlds will take place approximately 9 to 10 months after that. So LMQ would have to be so far ahead of every other team in the world that they could move to a worse region and not decay in terms of team skill below the second place team, right? Which of course is just absurd. It's impossible. There's no way that would ever happen. So basically what it means, if LMQ were to win a world, it's just purely hypothetical, it would mean that they were practicing against teams that were good enough to give them good enough practice to be the best team in the world. Which is why I think that if they won, they should be regarded, or North America should be regarded as the best scene, quote unquote, or at least the scene with the best team. And it shouldn't be called a Chinese victory, which people that are ignorant or whatever may say that, but when you really look at it and think of it in these terms, you really have to give the best region to North America if that happened. So the next thing we want to move on to is this part, so I'll play it for you so you guys can hear it just as before.
Situation here. Let's say more teams come over and knock some teams out. Let's say TSM or CLG or Curse or Dignitas, because that's a very real possibility in the future. If overseas teams keep coming over to the North American LCS, let's say that, your CLG, your TSM, your Dignitas, your Curse is gone now. Let's say those teams get relegated and they're unable to get back into North American LCS. So what does that really mean for the North American LCS? Are we really being represented by North America's top talent? Or are we now, this, pick and pull, a little bit of European, a little bit of, Korean, a little bit of Chinese? Are we now not really representing North American players on a region?
Okay, so the basic point is if any region, any team from any region can join the North American LCS, then is the North American LCS even NA LCS anymore, or is it just kind of a mini Worlds, if you want to think of it like that? Bunch of teams from different areas. And let me just start off by going through each region and why. I'll give arguments for why it's not very logical for teams to send people to to North America, to prevent this kind of thing from happening in the first place. So if we start off with Europe, I would say that Europe is on equal footing with NA. I was going to say that NA is better than EU, but I know I would get a lot of hate from my viewers for saying that. And to be fair, they probably are even, right? And maybe even the bottom EU teams are better than the bottom NA teams. I think that will change in the near future. Just because the amount of talent in NA, I think, is a little bit higher than EU. In terms of like the top 3 teams, I think the bottom teams can learn a lot more from the top 3 teams in North America. But anyway, that's totally outside the point. The point is that if Europe was to send one of their teams to North America, there's no guarantee that they would even get in, because the teams are so close in skill that it would just end up being maybe another Quantic situation where they send a team and they don't even get in. Because as time goes on, it's going to become riskier and riskier, because North America is just going to keep getting better and better and better, as we've seen. Teams like Cloud9, TSM, and CLG performing really well recently. So as the bottom teams learn from them, it's just going to become super risky for people to risk everything to move over to a new country, live here for several months. How long has LMQ been here? For 5 months, 4 months, until they finally play and qualify. Have to waste all that time, all that money, have the backing to do it from a sponsor, and then have a good chance to just flat out fail. I can't see a team doing that unless if it's a team like Fnatic or something, or Gambit, that decides, like, fuck it, let's just move one of our best teams over there, which maybe they would, but I mean, I wouldn't really see a problem with that. It'd be more competition, but the point is I don't think they would risk losing like their fan base and everything, just move over for a chance. And keep in mind, Fnatic would have to be competing in a challenger scene for 4 months. Do you really think they want to go through that? No. So yeah, I just don't think that would happen. So chance of an EU team coming over is pretty low. Let's move on to Southeast Asia. I would say that Southeast Asian scene is much worse than North America. It's hard to tell because they always have this wonky meta, but it's pretty much the same thing as EU, except on an even more severe scale. It's just not worth it for those teams to move over. It's such a low chance of actual success and a lot of investment, and it's just not worth it. Moving on to Korea, Quantic didn't make it when they came over, so I think it's very unlikely for another Korean team to try. Reason is just cultural differences. In Korea, at least as far as I understand it, if someone else knows better, they can maybe correct me on this, but they take a very statistical approach, I would say, to things. That's why, for example, in the Korean meta, we don't see that much variance. They took forever to pick up certain champions, and the reason is that they just like doing things that work. And until someone brings something new up, no one else will play it. Like, it can be getting played in solo queue all the time, but until someone plays it in the competitive scene, no one else will play it. Because they just want to stick with what works and what they know will succeed. So after seeing Quantic fail, I don't think that any sponsors in Korea would be willing to send a Korean team over again, at least in the near future. Maybe a couple years down the road, maybe it'll happen. But by then I think the size of the LCS may even be increased to like 16 teams or something like that. So again, it wouldn't really be that big of an issue. So I don't think Korea is likely to do it. So the only reason we have left that would actually send teams over to North America is China, which we've seen LMQ come over. And the reason why I don't mind Chinese teams coming over is because I think North American scene and the Chinese scene are almost polar opposite, and I think the two scenes can learn a lot from each other. And also the reason why I don't mind is because the Chinese scene is just awful. I'll just flat out say that I feel bad for the players over there, because North America and China are on an opposite scale in that aspect also. The players get paid so poorly over there, and the chance, at least unless you're on like one of the top teams, as far as I understand, like maybe World Elite and OMG, those teams get paid a lot because they're popular. Especially World Elite is by far the most popular Chinese team. Not the best, but the most popular. Anyway, the point being is that maybe if enough Chinese teams start moving over, the Chinese team will start paying their players more or something. I don't know. But that's not even the main reason. The main reason why I think it's good is because the North American scene has a very rotational based gameplay. Chinese scene is much more about team fights and mechanical play, similar to Europe. I think China is just a better version of Europe in that sense. So I think North American teams could learn a lot from the mechanics and team fighting of the Chinese teams, whereas the Chinese teams could learn a lot from the rotational play of the North American teams, and they could really help each other kind of bridge the gap between North America and China and Korea, and kind of overtake or whatever, or at least compete on the same level. So I don't even see that I don't even see it as a bad thing for Chinese teams to come over to North America and compete in the NALCS. So yeah, that's about it. At the end of the day, I think people are just kind of paranoid of like a snowball effect. What's it called? Man, it's slipping my mind right now. But anyway, people are always afraid of these things happening. Like, God, it's really gonna bother me that I can't remember the term. Basically, just like one thing leads to another, and it snowballs and gets out of control. I don't think that's the case here, though. If you just approach it logically and kind of think what each region has to gain, I just don't see it happening. And even if it does for the Chinese scene, I think it's okay. And I think Riot would even consider like increasing the size in the North American LCS or something, because the North American LCS is by far the most watched region. Like, it's not even close. So yeah, I don't think that would have a problem increasing the size if necessary, if it starts getting overloaded. But anyway, just put what you guys think in the comments below, and yeah, let me know if you agree or disagree. And yeah, I think doing this kind of thing is pretty fun on YouTube. It's nice to get YouTubers together, I guess, and discuss a subject, and hopefully Elementz watches this video and gives me his thoughts or whatever on it. And yeah, I will see you guys for the next video, I guess. See ya.